Jamie, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I can hear you as well. Looks like we've got about 2 minutes before we'll start, correct?
Yes, I got 12 on my computer, but I think we should wait a few minutes. I sent about 60 emails out, so there could be people trying to get on. And so I think I'd rather wait just a little bit and make sure people aren't
Okay.
having connection issues.
So we got 16 on right now, so. Well, Jamie, it's 12 o'clock. You might be able to facilitate some more folks, participants joining in. But I think just to honor people's time, if they've got some time carved out during their lunch hour or whatnot, I think we should get started with this. Jamie, are you okay? Thumbs up?
Yes, I'm ready. Sorry, I'm multitasking and not doing a very good job.
Okay, thumbs up and a verbalization. Thank you so much. Well, welcome, folks. This is another parent Zoom meeting, and primarily we have information that is very relevant to our parents of our current seniors, the class of 2020. Hope everybody's hanging in there and doing well. Just so you know, big shout out to our staff here at CM Russell High School, all of our teachers, our clerical staff, our custodians, our aides, our paraprofessionals, just all of the work and all of the support and all the flexibility that I've seen and observed throughout this whole pandemic situation. And certainly today, we started our day at the Montana Expo Park and looked at the graduation venue. Unfortunately, the long-term forecast looks more positive than it is out there today. It was quite cold, quite rainy, but we're excited that we do have an opportunity for an outdoor venue. That's never happened in my tenure as an educator in Great Falls Public Schools, or beforehand when I was a student. So to graduate on the in the outdoors at 6:30 p.m. on the 29th is pretty exciting, and it looks like it's going to be about 70 degrees that day, and I'm knocking on wood, and hopefully that will continue, and hopefully it'll be an awesome situation. Just so you know, there's been lots and lots of conversation, lots of planning, lots of decision making, lots of consulting to try to figure out, number one, can we have graduation? Number two, once we decided we can we have participants in its entirety from our graduating class? And then, of course, we were given information last week to include, 2 guests per student. There were several venues that were looked at to try to determine if it would be appropriate for this particular setting for our commencement exercises. Options on Memorial Stadium, options on Centene Stadium, and then certainly the Montana Expo Park. And the bottom line, when we had this conversation, we have to have a contingency plan. If we get lightning, if we get a situation where we have some real drastic inclement weather that creates a safety hazard, you're not going to be able to be outside. And so that's why the Four Seasons then was the contingency plan, due to its proximity, to quickly move that venue indoors. But as I said, we're crossing our fingers and hoping for great weather and having a nice event next week for our seniors. Today we're going to cover, as I said, mostly information that's relevant to seniors. But on the end of my notes, I do have some information for juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, and I will ask my loyal technology assistant, Jamie Williams here, who sets these meetings up, possibly see if we can assess how many people need to continue on with that. But again, a lot of senior information. The first thing I want to say is that you are going to get a hard copy of the information that I'm going to cover today. And one would ask, well, why do I want to spend time listening to Mr. Parsons read this stuff to me? What I will say is every year prior to graduation, we have a senior notes meeting. We hand our students a hard copy. We talk about it, and then we still have to revisit some of this information. So we feel like it is important because of the all the stuff that's going on in our lives right now and the excitement and anxiety that's created by graduation. So we're going to go through this fairly succinctly and hopefully with a manageable number of participants, which we're a little over 20 right now, possibly be able to answer some of the questions. So check our Facebook page, check our Remind app, check our CMR webpage, and the seniors, students have a school district email address with some other this information and potentially some updates if needed as we move towards the end of this school year. And as we know, we have to be fluid, we have to be ready for that. So final tests, we need to take care of business seniors. We need to make sure that they are taking care of all their academic requirements to be eligible to participate in the commencement exercises on the 29th. Most of those senior assessments have been rolled out to the students starting on the 18th. And so now that we're nearing the end of the particular week, again, just encourage your son and your daughter to pay attention to those details, make sure that they meet those expectations, because I don't like surprises, and particularly when it comes to not meeting those deadlines to participate in graduation. So please, again, just a word of encouragement. I think most of our seniors are taking care of business, but we always have just a couple that need a little extra push as we approach the finish line. The seniors' last day technically on the calendar is Wednesday, May 27th. That would be the day that if we were in traditional school, they would end the school year, have the senior celebration. But again, that is that target deadline, which is 2 days prior to the commencement exercises. So again, make sure that they're aware of those deadlines. The deadlines that individual teachers set usually are prior to that date. So again, it depends on their particular class load and the teacher schedules and how those assessments are rolled out. Now on Tuesday, May 26th, which is next Tuesday, the day after Memorial Day, we have a day designated here at CMR for seniors to pick up materials and seniors to drop off materials, as we still have a lot of equipment, textbooks, types of things that are out there, and students have to pick up some materials as well. Keep in mind that our students are going to be allowed to come in on only the first floor because of all about the cleansing and deep cleaning process that we have to go through. We're keeping students on the first floor and we're maintaining the 6-foot social distancing protocols. We want students to wear masks to our May 26th pickup day. Now, if for some reason a student comes and all of a sudden doesn't have a mask, we'll have a limited supply of additional dust masks just to support those protocols on hand. But we do want our students, when they come to the high school on the 26th, to make sure they have a mask with them. The North Breezeway is the breezeway between the main building and Bill Williamson Hall. That is where the students are going to enter. And that will be from the student parking lot side. And again, I know this is like, oh my gosh, this is really technical and detailed stuff, but because of the constraints we are under to maintain safety during COVID-19, we have to have students adhere to these expectations. They enter the northwest side and they exit on the southwest side. And I know how it's going to be for our adults and our students. They haven't seen each other, a lot of them, for an awful long time. But we've got to keep them spread out. We've got to maintain all of those expectations, certainly at least while we're in phase 1 of this COVID-19 scenario. Students with last names A through G, we want them to come to our high school between 8 and 10 a.m. And again, this is the 26th of May, next Tuesday, for turning in materials or picking up materials. Now, parents, just so you know, we do not release the diploma until all fines are paid. And so it's imperative if students have textbooks out, if they've got uniforms out, if they've got other equipment, we've got to have this taken care of, because we don't want to say, you know, we'll deal with your diploma next week. We want all of it taken care of. So students with last names A through G come from 8 to 10 a.m. Last names H through M as in Mary come between 10 and noon. Last names N through Z come between 12 and 2. And then we kind of have a catch-all time because we know, again, there's different circumstances. 2 and 4 p.m. will be open for anyone that could not attend during those assigned times. So again, we're talking Tuesday the 26th. And again, you'll get a hard copy of this sent home. Your students will have one on their district email, and check the Remind app, check the web page, and check Facebook to reference this material. And just make sure we're paying attention to all these things. These are the things that kids should bring: their textbooks, their library books, anything that they've checked out in terms of computers during the pandemic. They should also bring a jump drive with them or a thumb drive to download any contents off of their Z drive. Some of the work that students have, they need to take on to the next chapter in their life, whether that's post-secondary or their life, resumes, other detailed work that they've done. So try to bring a transcript, or excuse me, a thumb drive to get that information. Seniors that park in our senior lot, we need to have them turn in those permits. If any student has an elevator key, they need to turn those in. Any money for fines that they possibly have, they need to take care of that on that day. And if they've got outstanding lunch accounts, we've talked about that information of how they can get reimbursed for that information. So again, it's imperative that our students take care of all those details so they can be handed their diploma during the commencement exercises on the 29th. After the 29th, if there are fines and diplomas are withheld, and again, it always creates a contentious situation, and I don't want it to, because that's why we're giving people this information in advance. But notifications of fines will be sent out. Once the fines have been paid, then we'll make arrangements with the individuals to hand out diplomas. And for whatever reason, that happens every single year. Now, if there is a fine and a student has met all their academic requirements, they'll get a diploma jacket at the commencement exercises. It just will not be stuffed with the diploma. So again, keep that in mind. For our students who are Native American, who have coordinated with Mr. Hallett here about beating their caps, again, make sure that Mr. Hallett and myself are aware of that situation. And again, our Native American students are able to, when they reach their graduation requirements, they are able to get an eagle feather at a ceremony. And unfortunately, due to these COVID situations, we did not have that. But there will be a presentation of those eagle feathers to our eligible students on the southwest apron of the high school. And I'll give a little bit more details of that about the 29th. So again, the finals, they need to take care of that business. Seniors' last day is on the 27th. The day before that is the day for students to turn in materials and, of course, get everything picked up that they need to pick up. Now, we have had our clerical staff and custodial staff and support staff work very hard about emptying lockers because those weren't all done back before this whole thing started. And so bagged items with student names on them are in our cafeteria right now, and they will be out ready for students as they navigate through the commons in those specific protocols to pick up some of those items. So students who have honor cords, students who have honor stoles. So in other words, students have had high academic achievement here. They should have received an informational postcard regarding the cost of those items. And again, they can pay for those on the 26th when they attend to turn in materials and pick materials up. Jamie Williams, just anything on those first couple items or any questions that you feel like we need to address right now? Because again, without you, I would not be able to go through with this information and answer questions effectively. So Jamie, can you chime in? Anything we need to address or any questions you saw from that preliminary information?
No, I believe that was perfect. I was listening very, very closely, and I think you covered it all.
So that's 2 thumbs up from Mrs. Williams. Awesome. We're off to a good start. Thank you so much. Okay. The other thing I want to say about senior parents, please think about this. There was a senior survey that was mailed to all of our seniors at the end of April. If there's a second mailing needed, in other words, the student maybe resides in 2 different households, then there were 2 of these sent out. This is a document called the Senior Follow-Up Class of 2020. It is imperative that we have our students fill it out and get it back to us. And on that document, it has an email address of how you can get it, or you could take a picture of it and send it in to Mrs. Brewer. She is our record secretary here. But it's information that helps us track and collect data on the class of 2020. So where kids are planning to go post high school, whether it's college, military, some other type of a 2-year program, maybe that they're just going into work, or if they're undecided. But down the road, it seems like all of our students are going to need access to possibly a transcript or some other type of record. And what this does is it helps Mrs. Brewer, who does a fabulous job of organizing this information, to keep it on record. And again, it just helps us kind of keep track of everybody. This is what it looks like. It should have been mailed home, but if you don't have it, you can access it on the CMR website, and just basically download it. And then again, there's directions on how you can mail it into Mrs. Brewer, or you could return it by emailing or taking a picture of it. So we want to make that as convenient as possible. But again, parents, or if we have any actual seniors on this meeting right now, please make sure that we take care of that. It's important that we get that information. And with the challenges we faced, it's been a little bit difficult to get all those in a timely fashion. Those were actually due by last Friday.
So that is not on the website yet, but it will be on as soon as we get done with this.
Okay. All I have to do is ask and it gets done. Thank you for that. And I knew that we were planning to get that on there. But you can also, if you want to email myself or one of the administrators, if you don't see that, I've got that document that I can email out to you. But thank you, Mrs. Williams, for being able to get that onto the website. Now let's talk about Friday the 29th, which is the day of commencement. An exciting day for the class of 2020, an exciting day for our parents. I know that everybody's just getting kind of excited about this. And when we talk about the potential for a great weather outdoor venue situation, it should be special. But prior to the actual commencement, we have a graduation and parent walk planned for CM Russell High School. As you know, we have not had kids in the building for a long time in large groups. We have not had kids finish their high school experience in a traditional fashion. So we want them to be able to come back to our high school and take part in the parent walk. The parent walk will be scheduled between 1 and 3 p.m. on the 29th. And here's what we're asking is that the 6 feet of social distancing is all going to be maintained. Again, we want people to wear masks. That's both our students and our parents. Or for this particular venue, we can have additional family members as long as it's one family group staying together, staying socially distanced from another family. Being that we're outdoors and we're going to spread this thing out, we want this to be just a nice opportunity for kids to revisit their campus prior to their graduation ceremony. We want all students and parents to park in the senior lot, which, of course, our seniors know where that is. That's the southwest lot. I would say it's the lot closest to Sam's Club. Every student is going to have to, and every attendee of that is going to have a health assessment form. And again, that's just part of the rules that we have to play by to maintain safety. One for each graduate's household. So if a graduate lives with their parents in the same household, one form needs to be filled out. If the parent lives, if the student lives with one parent and possibly another parent from a different household is going to attend, then we'll have to have multiple forms. Now that document can also be found on our webpage. And Mrs. William, is that document there right now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And here's what I would suggest for all of you parents and for all of the senior graduates: download that form, have it in hand, have it completed prior to standing in line. That'll just alleviate pressure, that'll alleviate a back jam of people standing in line, and that'll certainly get everybody to participate in the graduation walk more efficiently. And then also, once we clear people at the high school with those health assessments, that'll make it for a smoother process when they go to the fairgrounds that night to get into the arena for the graduation. Now, the health assessments start at 1 o'clock on the 29th here at CMR. So if you and another family member are going to accompany your graduate at graduation, you would have to go through this health assessment, folks. So keep that in mind. Students whose last names are A through G, those will start at 1 o'clock here at the campus again, as part of our graduation walk. So A through G seniors. And again, if you're bringing family members to the graduation walk, that's fine, but know that we can only have 2 family members actually at commencement. Everybody that participates in those health assessments, you're going to be getting a gold wristband. That's going to be like your, I'm already screened. That's my ticket to get into graduation. So again, if we can knock a lot of those out here on campus prior to the evening, that alleviates a lot of the stress, and it makes it for a much smoother process to get our guests and our students into the arena. And we need to please leave that on throughout the entire day so our graduates can get into the arena. It verifies that the health assessment has been passed. So again, letters A through G, 1 p.m. Seniors with last names H through M, those assessments will begin at 1:30 here at the high school. Seniors with last names N through Z to the end of the alphabet, that starts at 2 o'clock. The students will proceed with their families through the cheering staff gauntlet with 12-foot intervals, again, to maintain social distancing. And then we want that, again, to be a nice experience for our staff. Our staff miss their students, and normally they have an opportunity to hug them and high-five them and talk to them and celebrate their last hour of their last day. But without that opportunity, this is kind of the nice alternative. And again, looking at some nice weather here, this will also give our staff who have been working primarily remotely a chance to kind of connect at, again, a social distance interval with their colleagues, and again, supporting the accomplishments of the class of 2020, because not all of them can attend commencement exercises too, due to our limitations, unfortunately. But we want students and their parents to navigate north through the parking lot on the sidewalk to the big skull up by our bus loop. And what we thought, how cool would it be for all of our graduates with their family members to go up there in their caps and gowns and get a nice picture by the skull in the northwest corner of our campus. So there'll be a picture taken at the skull. If a family member wants to do that, you know, on their cell phone and that type of thing, to do it quickly, great. But there will be pictures available being taken up there that will be downloadable online for free, and we'll give you some more direction on that. There'll be a video opportunity, a real quick opportunity for those students to talk about some of their favorite wrestler memories. And then we want to put that video on our Facebook page at a later time so people can, you know, reflect back with those quotes from the class of 2020. So again, that'll be kind of a cool thing. So be thinking, seniors, about, and parents, encourage your seniors, be thinking about one of those real quick quotes of favorite memories about being a wrestler. As I said, the Eagle Feather Ceremony for students that are Native American that have earned that opportunity, on the southwest apron, as you complete the walk, we want you to go and pick up your Eagle Feather. And again, that can be included in your tassel ensemble or your gown for the graduation exercises. Now, here's what we had to say, and I know this is tough, but we need to leave with no hugging, no handshaking, and no loitering. And again, that's just the rules we have to play by, unfortunately. But again, very important that we adhere to that. Now, we want this experience to be positive, and I guess I'll just ask right now that everybody be professional and be responsible and adhere to those expectations, because again, it is our responsibility to maintain the safety of our students, our community members, our parents, and our staff members. Okay. Now, the graduation ceremony, the night of the 29th at 5 o'clock that night, which is about an hour and 30 minutes prior to the actual start of commencement, the graduates and the 2 family members can begin reporting to the expo park. So again, that's 5 p.m. on the 29th. Graduates and 2 family members can begin reporting to the Montana Expo Park. And again, we encourage, if you don't get pre-screened at the high school, try to get there as close to that 5 o'clock time as you can. If you do not have your wristbands, this is the time to receive them. And again, 3 total wristbands for each graduate. So 1 for the graduate and 2 for their family members. So a total of 3. Graduates must be wearing their cap and gown and report. So again, they've worn it earlier during the graduation walk, and they've had it back on ready to participate in commencement exercises. The graduation is going to be live streamed. And again, we will continue to promote links to where that can be accessed, because unfortunately, not every family member which traditionally attends will be able to be attending live, but they have an opportunity to watch it live stream. We need all vehicles, and it's preferred that the parent and the graduates drive together to limit traffic, to enable our spacing on the parking expectations to be smooth. We want them to enter from the 6th Street Northwest location. So that's to the west of the fairgrounds. That's the one entrance point, again, based on the security and the protocol set up by our county folks as well. We need to have people follow the cones to the livestock pavilion. The livestock pavilion is a large building down there, which cars will drive through and again, either complete the screening process for the health assessment or identify yourself as already having been complete that process. We need people, students, to bring an ID and that health assessment form. So again, we don't want to have any frustration or surprises, so the health assessment form needs to be brought with them. And all students will get a temperature check, and all visitors will get a temperature check. We will ask all to hand sanitize and again, wear a mask. Now our graduates are going to be provided a green mask that is going to be in uniform with the cap and gown. Obviously, we do not have those for all the parents, but if the parents attended the graduation walk earlier in the day, hopefully they have one. And again, hand sanitizing and wearing a mask is necessary. Following the signs and immediately find their assigned seat. So like I said, we were down at that area today looking at how that the spectator portion will be identified and assigned. We're still working out those details, but when you get to the livestock pavilion, we're hoping that we can hand you that information, and as you're going to be a spectator, you'll go right to your assigned seat. There'll be some folks helping people navigate that process, and our graduates need to go to their assigned seat as well. They will be basically seated in alphabetical order like they are traditionally during our graduation. Unfortunately, they will not be a traditional processional. Normally we stage in an area close together. We walk out with the orchestra playing, but we talked about why that won't happen. So they will start the process in their assigned seats in the arena. The seats for the family members, as I said, they'll also be assigned. And again, just make sure that we're maintaining the social distancing protocols during the entire operation. There will be a senior slideshow playing for your entertainment when you wait for everybody to be seated. So our journalism department is working very, very hard at putting that together, getting lots of information to showcase all of our seniors, and we feel like we're pretty fortunate to have that playing while people are getting ready for the show to begin. We will begin at 6:30. And since I've been the principal and my times of working graduation as an associate principal, we've started right on the time. I'm hoping that everything goes smoothly and getting everybody in there, but my plan is to start right at 6:30. We try to keep as many of the parts traditional as we can, but again, to meet safety standards, there have to be a few revisions. And looking at the venue today and figuring out exactly all those logistics, we're still working and working very hard to try to get that taken care of. Now, I'm just going to encourage graduates right now to understand that we're essentially having the graduates sit in an area that's used for rodeos. There's going to be hopefully a nice tarp over there to smooth that surface, but if we had graduation today, I would tell our graduates to wear their muck boots with their caps and gowns. It was muddy. It didn't look great, but wear footwear that's appropriate for potentially dirt and mud. And like I said, we might have some more moisture between now and the 29th, but the long-range forecast looks for some possible warmer temperatures and drying. I want to shake hands. I can't shake hands, so I'm practicing my elbow bump type of thing, and I guess that's the new standard on that gesture now. So instead of the handshake, that's what we're going to do. There'll be a photographer there taking picture for the students with their diploma before they return to their seat. As I said in a previous Zoom meeting, I cannot physically turn tassels, which again is one of the highlights of graduation for me personally, as they walk down the stage, a handshake and a tassel turn. but we're going to have the students keep their tassels on the same non-graduated side and then turn them collectively in unison as a class. So we'll talk about that process too when we get ready for those students to walk across their area to receive their diploma. Unfortunately, with the standard tradition of throwing the mortar boards, a student throwing a mortar board and then potentially picking up somebody else's mortar board could challenge our safety protocols. So we're not going to allow them to throw their mortar boards, but we're going to have some other items for them to toss into the air that should be harmless. And then I guess my administrative team and myself will be cleaning that up to prepare for that venue for the other high schools the following day. Project Grad, who's done an awesome job for many years supporting all of our graduating classes. They've pre-packed gifts for the graduates that they receive after the ceremony. So we'll give direction on how they go and get those bag gifts. But in lieu of the all-night party, again, with all the efforts that they put in, we wanted to be able to get that information to our students or get those materials to our students. And we figured this is the best venue for that to occur. So after the ceremony, we need all of our students and our spectators to exit that area. And again, the hugging, the handshaking, the loitering with non-family members, we just have to, again, make sure that that does not occur. And it's going to be tough. I get it. You know, we've had a recognition situation here today where a teacher wants an award. That teacher wanted to hug everybody. And I know that's kind of what a lot of people like to do. But in this scenario, we certainly cannot do that. Now, I do have some other information for juniors, sophomores, and freshmen that we'll go through, but I saw a few questions that came up. And I guess what I'm going to ask Jamie, if Jamie Williams can chime in right now and maybe highlight some of those questions while we have this group here, I'll try to answer to the best of my ability. Jamie, anything in particular that maybe I didn't do a great job presenting or something came up that we need to clarify?
So a few questions came up. I answered a few of them in the comments. So those of you that posted those, like arrival times for the parade and whatnot, take a look at the comments, and if it's still not clear, let us know. Somebody did ask, can students bring gifts and cards to teachers during that parade? What will that look like? Will there be a basket or something available? What do you think about that?
Well, I would say if that is going to happen, the teachers are not going to be able to get them immediately. But if we need to set something up on a table and just say this is a basket for the cards, our typical protocol when students are turning in academic work right now, our directive is that we've got to let it sit in quarantine for 5 days. So we would do that. If students want to do that, that's fine. But just know that they'll have to sit in an area for that amount of time before we can safely distribute it to the teachers. So if students want to make that awesome gesture to their teachers, just make sure the teacher's name is on there clear. We'll let them sit for 5 days, and then we'll get it to them the following week. So great question and nice thought from our students and parents. Thank you. Other questions, Jamie?
So there were a couple questions concerning, like, if people come to, do they need a health form for both events? If people come to the parade, do they need to identify at the parade who is coming to graduation? Do you want to kind of clarify the health form and the parade and graduation? And
yeah, I'll do the best I can on that one. The health form, everybody that is going to participate in graduation obviously needs to have that verified, needs to obtain a wristband. The wristband is kind of your entry into commencement. For everybody that's going to participate in the graduation walk day, yes, we need to have that health assessment form completed. But again, that's one form per household. So if our graduate, lives in a house with mom and dad and, brother, sister, one form for that entire family would be fine. If the graduate potentially lives in multiple households and those multiple household individuals are going to show up, then we would need multiple forms. So we'll need to have the form For the grad walks, we'll need to have the form completed for the commencement exercises. So if we get it done for the grad walks, we get our wristbands, then we're in good shape. My recommendation is just to hang on to those forms until you're told to turn them into our nurses. And again, that whole process, this is just, lots of new things, lots of extra steps, kind of cumbersome, but again, necessary in terms of the direction that we must follow. So the answer is yes, they need them for the grad walks, take care of it at the grad walks. Then of course that will streamline the process of getting into commencement.
Also, somebody asked, is the form online? Yes, it's online. And also, somebody might not do the parade. They might have to, be working or something, a parent or a student. If they don't do the parade, then they will just do the health form when they get to the fairgrounds.
Correct. And just my recommendation, have that thing printed out ahead of time, ready to fill out, to not have to pick it up. But we'll have some additional forms on site too in the event that somebody spaced it out. So good question.
I missed part of your spiel. Somebody asked about assigned seats at the grandstands, and what about people with limited mobility and yada yada.
Yeah, and I will say too, I mean, the grandstands are pretty nice. I haven't been to an event there yet. I've been to many events in the old grandstands, but they are fairly steep. The advantage of that is that they've got a great view of the activity. There is a level platform at the bottom that will probably, because people might show up and they might have a scooter, they might have a wheelchair, and so we have to accommodate for that. So we're going to hopefully have an adequate number of staff on hand wearing identifiable vests to help facilitate that process, I guess ushers, if you will. So they will have assigned seats, but as you know, there's going to have to be a little bit of flexibility because we don't necessarily know everybody's capabilities at this particular time. But we just expect cooperation, good communication, good dialogue, and be respectful to make sure that we get people seated, make sure people are seated in their assigned seats with the adequate spacing. But if some of those things need to be adjusted based on individual circumstances, I think we've got a plan for that as well.
Okay, not related to graduation. Somebody asked, when will we know about the honor roll?
About the honor roll? Honor roll determination will be at the conclusion of the school year in terms of whether a student made that. Now, we did have an honor roll assembly that was planned, or actually a breakfast that was planned, had to be canceled. I'm going to have to work with Mr. Soldano, my associate principal, who oversees that particular operation, to see about the dissemination of those. So there again, lots and lots of recognition assemblies and banquets and opportunities. And so a dissemination plan to get those things out. Whether those will be ready when students come and drop off and pick up, that's still a question mark for me. But guaranteed, if students are due an honor roll pin, we will make every effort to get that to them and communicate the fashion in terms of the delivery of those items.
I'm not sure the order if we answered this question or not, but somebody said, so at the parade, do I need to identify who the two people are that are going to graduation? No,
not necessarily. However, just, making sure
there.
People that get those wristbands taken care of that will attend the commencement exercises, that would be that form. But, I'm sure there's still some uncertainty on schedules and how that's going to work out. But again, it's going to be 2 guests per graduate that will be health screened and identifiable by those wristbands when they come into the arena down at the fairgrounds.
Can you clarify on masks? Since people are outside, do they still need to wear masks? I don't know if the question's related to graduation or to the parade, but it seems like it would.
Yeah, to both, and again, that's the expectation that people will be wearing masks. And again, we're hoping that everybody is going to be able to comply with that. But based on the guidance that we would receive, masks, again, to just maintain as much safety as we possibly can, are going to be an expectation. And that's going to be a challenge for all of us. I get that.
I'll go ahead and answer the next question. Somebody asked about fines. Can I see in Power School what the fines are? And in Power School, not in the app, but in the web browser, you can see if your student has fines, but it doesn't tell you what fines they are. Also, as a note, fines from their senior year aren't in Power School yet because we don't know if students are going to turn in their track gear that's due this week, or their music, or their textbooks. So those fines won't go in until actually on the 27th. As kids come through on the 26th, people can let them know. They can go to the finance office and they can ask, do I have outstanding fines? And there will always, in the past, there's been a fine list up so students can see that fine list, but just know that fines, from this year won't go in Power School until the 27th, when we know that they're really not going to bring this stuff back. So then after the 27th is when there will be communication as to what fines are still left in there. And then another thing I wanted to remind you of, since there's no all-night party and there is, the kids aren't getting a t-shirt, some parents and one of our artists developed a t-shirt. So if you would like to buy that for your senior, it's not associated with the school at all, but it is on our website and it's on Facebook. You can go out and buy that t-shirt. That was created by a student and sold by Universal. So you can go on and then you can order that t-shirt. You can either choose to have the t-shirt sent to you, or you can pick it up on the 29th at Universal. So that's available. Those orders have to be in by this Sunday night so that they can get those printed and to people. If you have them shipped to you, they will not, I doubt you would get it by the 29th. I guess I don't know that. I think if you want it on the 29th, you should plan on picking it up at Universal. Let me look. There was another question that came in. Okay. So Carrie, can the students take their mask off to do a picture like at graduation or around the skull?
If they take it down really quick, but because they're in close proximity to their family, I would say yes. And I hope I'm not going on some limb and get myself in trouble there, but I do know, there might be some novelty in having that picture with a mask and without a mask. But if they're doing a quick snapshot and pull the mask down real quick and take that picture, because they're close, the social distancing is maintained. They're in close proximity to their family members only at that time. I would think that to be done very quickly in an outdoor venue would be acceptable as well. Yes, if that answered the question, Jamie.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. Karen said you can see fines in the app. Sorry, I'm reading it. Yes, so if there's an amount showing 90% of the time it's from previous years. I don't think very many fines, maybe some fines if there was any fines or anything from the fall, like from sports or yearbook, there could be a few things in, but I would say most of the fines that are in Power School would be from grades 9 through 11. Oh. Okay, so somebody asked, and this happens if textbooks were left in classrooms or if they were left in classrooms. It'll be a case-by-case basis. We encourage kids not to leave textbooks in classrooms. Also, everything has been taken out of the lockers, so we've got those, but if a student did leave something in a classroom, we will we'll go look for it at some point. So if that was the case, be sure to tell your student to check with us in the library when they come through, and we will try to go hunt down those books for them. Yes, yearbooks. Well, I don't know. I think yearbooks are still scheduled for June. Does anybody that's with us know anything different?
Yeah,
the week of June 20th.
Miss Britton confirmed that today, like the 20th. I think it'll be shipped.
Okay, if I skipped anybody's questions, please unmute or please type another question in the Zoom. I hope we got them all. Jump in if we didn't cover anything, please.
Okay, I'm just going to close right now. I've had a lot of communication from some parents that are very, very complimentary and say, we understand, none of us have been trained to handle this situation, but they've been very understanding, not always in agreement with decisions that were made, but they're voicing their concerns. And again, just have lots of empathy and understanding for the difficult job that we have to educate and plan for all of these events for our students, not only the class of 2020, but all of our students across the district. So I thank you for that. I've given my number to my office again, 268-6241. If I can answer a question, I will do my very best to answer the question. And I think having some conversations over the phone oftentimes is an easier way to reach some understanding versus an email. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to reach out. We're here to help, and we care about our students. We care about our parents. We care about our community members. But there's been a lot of tough decisions made. I just want to close by saying the juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, we will continue to promote information about their final assessments. Next week is going to be their last week of instruction, so they've got to take care of business in terms of wrapping up their classes to get themselves eligible to become a senior and move on to be in the position to graduate. The last day for all the underclassmen is June 5th, and that's the official end of the school year. We do have pickup days for underclassmen. For juniors, it's Tuesday, June 2nd. For the sophomores, it's Wednesday, June 3rd. For the freshmen, it's on Thursday, June 4th. Again, first floor only. Again, observing the 6 feet social distancing protocols. Masks, are going to be required. And the same entrances and exits that our students use, or our senior students use, when they come in on the 26th. And then we'll have some time for students, basically last names A through G, they come in at 8 to 10 on those days. H through M, 10 to 12 on those days. N through Z, 12 to 2 on those days. And then 2 to 4, kind of a catch-all. But again, we will, roll that information out to our underclass men and underclassmen parents as we move closer to that last day of school. But we appreciate you taking an interest in what we're doing here. We appreciate your support. We appreciate the dialogue. And again, we'll get through this situation. I'm looking forward to honoring our class of 2020 a little over a week from now. But again, please try to, as a senior parent, senior family, take part in coming to our high school on that 29th during the day, just to kind of walk through our campus one more time with your child while they're a CMR wrestler. I think that would be pretty special. But again, reach out if you've got questions, stay in communication with your teachers, and just pay attention to details. And I hope you have a great day. And Jamie Williams, thanks again for setting this up. So give me a call.
Let me jump in with one more thing.
Okay.
Somebody, I hope I understand this right, had some questions or concerns about, is it possible, or how are we going to take care of people who would get like gold bands at the parade and then show up at the fairgrounds and then try to get 2 more guests in and get 2 more gold bands there to have additional guests.
Right now, we only have permission for our graduates, our assigned workers, our security, and 2 guests per graduate. So we can't, we can't cross that line. It's just, we don't want to compromise anything. We don't want to ruin it for our kids. I've had requests for, well, so-and-so's not going to go through graduation. Can I get their wristbands? With the tracking that's needed to make sure who is there in the event that our city county health officers have to go out and make contact, pursuits. We just can't do that. And I would like to say traditionally, yeah, bring everybody, but we know we cannot do that. So 2 is greater than 0. I don't want to push that. So we need to, again, stay within those expectations, and 2 guests per graduate. And again, the people that are not able to attend will be able to observe it via the live streaming. Okay.
Awesome. And your friends that couldn't be here today, because we kind of changed it up a little bit, this will be out on Facebook here soon-ish. And the recording will also be on the website, so you can click on that and get the link if you missed part of it, or if your friends couldn't be here. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Jamie. Thank you, everybody. Go Rustlers. Talk to you later.